This gets me into a topic that I'm really curious to share your thoughts of, because I don't agree with how a lot of people do this, because I think it's different for men and women. But what are your thoughts on therapy for men, and is it different than therapy for women?
Yeah. I mean, I can talk through the lens of coaching because I predominantly actually coached women for the first probably 10 years of my, wellness career. And that was when I wasn't as secure in my own masculinity, by the way. And as I stepped into more of my own secureness and my masculinity, that's when I actually mainly started coaching men now. One thing I like is that I think it's necessary for all of us. I think it's really important. Therapy, maybe not, but like having someone you can go and talk to, a mentor, a different objective viewpoint that can give you some insights. I think that's imperative. We've lost that mentorship in our society, right? Like the last time most guys have mentors is like their high school coaches for the most part. So that's a really important piece. But I think therapy for men and women is imperative and for all people. But one thing I've seen in working with both men and women for a long time now is that women, and I'm generalizing, tend to respond better to support, right? And men tend to respond better to challenge. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you are with your friend and he keeps complaining about his wife. Every time you see him, comes up, how's the marriage? Oh, it sucks. What are you gonna do about it? I don't know, nothing. What you can do with a man at some point is say, look, Mike, I love you. I support you. We've talked about your marriage 10 times. That was okay. But moving forward, I either need you to take action on it or you and I don't talk about it again. And when you can do that with men in a lot of ways, in a therapeutic and a safe place, they go, oh shit, I have talked about this 10 times. I am a broken record. I'm going to take action or I'm no longer going to bring it up. And that's where men will really respond to challenge and really respond to being pushed, right? Now, if I have a female friend, I probably wouldn't use that same technique, right? It might be like, hey, Melissa, like, that's great. How can I help you? Like, what are the things here we can do to make some changes? What are some different ways that you can bring some different communication into the relationship? What do you want to change, right? So notice even my voice changed, my energy changed when I'm talking to those two imaginary people. But it's like with men, they tend to respond better to challenge. Women tend to respond better to support. And then there's variance in there. So it's important to have mentors. I've found personally too, at some point I've needed female coaches or teachers when I was working more of my mom stuff. And then it's also been important to me to have male teachers when I've been working more of my dad's stuff. But usually at the end of the day, psychology 101, you're working out your stuff through your therapist or through your coach. So yeah, it's been great to work with both. I mean, I would say the most fun I've ever had is leading men's groups and like really sitting with men and challenging them to grow. I had a group called the Mindful Men. And it was like we'd sit together for a couple hours in a circle and challenge each other and call each other out and support each other and love each other. And it's like, I would love to see more of that in the world. And I do think it's growing. I think a lot of women are getting support. I think that there's a lot more men that need it. We go back to 70% of suicide is male. There's a reason. Like, we're not trained to talk about stuff. We're not trained that it's okay to share. But there are men out there that are doing that. There are coaches out there that are doing that. And it's like, it's some of the most gratifying work I've ever done. And it's grown me more than any of the work I've ever done as well. So I'd say it's important for everybody, but I think for men listening, like, it's a good thing to get some help. It's a good thing to talk to someone who can give you an opinion and help you grow.
Yeah, I'm all about you need to get the help if you need it. But to me, there is a difference between therapy in terms of more the feminine side versus the masculine side. For me, I do not do well if I'm sitting in front of a couch with somebody who doesn't know me and I'm supposed to tell them all my problems and they're supposed to tell me, like, I don't know you. I don't know what you're about. Why am I going to trust you? It doesn't click for me. But I understand there are people there that do better in groups where we need to all talk about it. We need to get our emotions and our feelings and all that stuff out, and it works for them. Great. That does not work for me. I need to be challenged, like you said.
Yeah.
I need to go out with the guys, and we need to go on a journey. We need to go on a bike ride, or we need to go motorcycle ride. We need to accomplish a goal together. There was I forgot who it was, but there's this chemical called vasopressin. It's one of the stress chemicals in the body. It's predominantly more in men than it is in women. And it's the stress chemical that allows us to bond through challenge. Back in the day, caveman days, 5-6 dudes got together, whatever it was, and able to go hunt the bison. They had to work together. I may not like you, but if we're working together to accomplish that task, now I trust you. Military, it's huge there because you're literally on the battlefield. You have to trust your people. You could disagree with them. I was talking to one guy. He was an African-American guy who was in the military. He said his best friend in the military was a white dude who was a neo-Nazi. And like on paper, they should have nothing in common with each other. They have different political views, but when they go to fight, they support each other. And you're like, how the hell, how does that work? Tell me how that works. You're like, no, when you're in the fight, you trust your brothers. We are working to save each other's lives. We don't care what we think about outside, even if we completely disagree. And, we have our own opinions about that. On the battlefield, we survive. We're for each other. Military veterans who come back, who suffer from PTSD, a lot of that is because they miss that bonding. They go back in the military because it was that bonding through stress. We were getting shot at the same time, but I was there for my brothers. It was less about I'm doing this for President so-and-so and more about I'm doing this to save my brothers. We're accomplishing a task together. And you bring it back into the civilian world and you said, here's a regular job. I don't know how to cope with this. I need dudes around me so we can go take care of it together. So for me, it is more of, if I need therapy, that means I need to go challenge myself somewhere else. I need to go work with the guys somewhere in the law enforcement industry so we can go accomplish a task together. I need to get in the gym more. I need someone to push me over there because that helps me get out of any sort of like that depression mindset. It's that challenge that keeps me going. In terms of talking out the feelings and whatnot, I'm not knocking for anybody. I'm sure it does work, but for me, I need to see more of that. And then through that challenge, things can come out. You're on the battlefield together and you're getting shot at, but there's some lull in it. Then you start opening up like, hey man, got this thing going on in my marriage. Or hey man, how do you get your biceps to 19 inches? Oh, let me tell you something. Here's my secret. That's sort of where we open up, but not in front of a couch with some stranger with a clipboard saying, now tell me about your life. I'm going to fix your problems. No, you're not.
Yeah.
Again, that's the discrepancy that I see. Therapy's great, but it's a different definition for what works for men and what works for women.